Hey, I'm Ron. I'm one of the coaches at CHC, and today I'm going to be talking about my deadlift and how I set up for it. Alright, so you want to start off with the deadlift. You want to have your feet in a narrow position. The reason why you do that is you want to keep everything as compact as possible. So if you keep everything as compact as possible, in biomechanical terms, you shorten the moment arm basically. So what that means is you produce less force and less torque to get the bar up from the ground. So if you keep everything narrow, it's a lot easier for you to lift the weight off of the ground initially. So what I was talking about with the narrow positioning of the feet, so you want it to be shoulder width apart, parallel to each other. So generally, I get my clients to do this initially because this is pretty much textbook how you do it. But eventually you will find certain positions depending on your limb length and how your body is anatomically positioned for you to basically switch stance. But generally I want to teach people the rules before they break it. Otherwise you'll just end up being in that position and you're just lost. So if you have a look here, my feet are train tracks next to each other, completely parallel. So they're lined up at my shoulder. And then the grip positioning, you'll want your index finger to just be outside of that. So essentially you just want 3 fingers in the knurling where the rough part starts. And the same on the other side. Now obviously if you're alternating, it's going to be different. So if you're alternating grip, it's going to be just 2 fingers on the knurling on this side, and same on this side. But again, it depends on how wide your stance is and how long your arms are and how wide you're gripping the bar. Okay, so the next thing that you want once you've approached the bar is you want to set up your hands. So the previous scene before, I was talking about how you should be positioning your hands on the bar. So generally you want to keep that as narrow as possible as well. So once you've done that, then there's a couple other things that you need to make sure that you're doing. So you want to take the slack out of the bar. And what does that mean? So taking the slack out of the bar means that you want to make sure that your body is in a position where it's already pulling at the bar without it lifting off of the ground. And you'll be able to feel it, because then once you've done it, you'll feel the bar shift up slightly, but the weight and the plates won't actually lift off. So the way you do that is you engage your lats, you keep your arms as long as possible, so you want to envision them as like ropes or chains attached to the top of your chest. And that way, all they're doing is just pulling at the bar, and that's it. So the reason why you do that is that if you don't keep your lats engaged, chances are the bar's most likely going to travel forward. And just for more basic terms, if you don't have the slack out of that bar already, you're using a lot of movement and a lot of energy just trying to correct yourself rather than being in a position where you're already advantageously capable of lifting the bar properly. So from that point, you want to make sure that everything is as tight as possible and you won't separate the bar away from you. And that's how generally you have people that end up with lower back injury, because the bar separates away from them. Again, going back to the moment arm thing, so increasing the moment arm, the further the bar comes away from you, which means that there's more torque that you need to get that bar off of the ground. Plus, there's more shearing force in your back because there's a further force away rather than being a compressive force if the bar's close to you. So you're going to grab your bar, and then from this position here, you want to set up so that you're in a position where you're engaging your lats, right? So your lat dorsal, which is this muscle here, and then from that position, you're doing this. Did you hear that noise? So this noise, you know that the bar's already, the slack's been taken out. So it's already being slightly lifted off the bar. So from that position, you know that the bar's not going to go anywhere at that point. So if you get into that position again, from here, you're already ready to pull that bar off of the ground. All right, so once you've taken the slack out of the bar, what do we do now? So obviously you want to lift the bar off the ground. So how do you do that is you want to use your legs to drive yourself through the ground. So a lot of people think that the deadlift is a pulling motion, but in reality, it's actually pushing. So you use a lot more quads than you think. So from that position, once you've taken the slack out of the bar, you want to basically drive your feet through the ground as if you're trying to jump out of the building. So once you've done that, the bar should move up and make sure that you maintain tension and you maintain contact with your legs. And then from there, it's all easy. You just drive your hips through the bar and lock out, and that completes the deadlift. And obviously on the way down, it's just the reverse of everything. So make sure you maintain position, you maintain contact with your legs, and then just slowly lower the bar back down to the ground. When you got all those things put together, so we'll start from the bottom. So feet, shoulder to butt, parallel. You're gonna grab the bar, so same thing, narrow. You're gonna take the slack out of the bar, and then from there drive with your legs, and lock out. Same thing with walk down, make sure you maintain contact. And that's it, pretty simple.